everybody? This is Cool Dude, and finally, I get to finally talk about Black Widow, Marvel's latest movie that's finally out. Came out Friday, but I didn't get to watch it until literally today. I'm recording this on Sunday. I'm hoping to have it uploaded here today on Sunday, maybe a little late, you know. I might be uploading it late today on Sunday, or like maybe wait for Monday. Who knows? I'm gonna upload this as soon as I can. I'm sorry, guys. I know. My upload schedule is all over the damn place. I'm sorry. But I'm a loser like that. Anyway, so now I finally get to talk about Black Widow. It's the newest Marvel film. Saw it today, pretty early. And how did it turn out? It was honestly pretty awesome. So, yeah, really quick, let me just give you the basic plot synopsis without spoilers, of course. The film opens up on a flashback to Natasha Romanoff as a little girl with her sister. And her family gets, forced out into hiding, because they're associated with this widow program that basically it brainwashes girls and turns them into these super assassins, and they have their memory wiped and everything. And then a whole bunch of awful things happen to them. So we see her get taken away, separated from her family. Then we flash forward 21 years later to the events after Civil War, when, of course, if you've seen Civil War, which it's pretty weird for you to watch a Marvel movie without seeing the previous ones, but I get it, it's fine. Some people can do that sometimes. They watch them out of order. That's fine, I get it. But at the end of Civil War, she ends up, attacking Black Panther, which sets her off on a chase where, Tony Stark, he's like, T'Challa, he told Ross what you did, and now they're coming for you. And so Black Widow is on the run from Ross, and she ends up kind of like hiding out, and she has to go on the run away from the public because, she's a public enemy, basically, kind of like Cap. They're both fugitives going against the Sokovia Accords. And there was this, along the way, her sister ends up staying in the Widow program. We see her as a widow assassin, and she goes after this girl, and she's going to kill her, but then she hits her with this formula that can basically, like, remove the brainwash effect that, is plaguing these widows. And with that knowledge in mind, she sends the antidote to Black Widow because she's the only superhero that she knows that can, handle this stuff. But Black Widow doesn't know what to do with this information, so she goes to her sister, and she's like, what the hell is this thing? What am I supposed to do with it? And she explains to her that it can, help like restore the widows back to normal, basically remove the brainwashing out of their heads. And she realizes that Dreykov, the evil man behind the Widow project and all that, is still alive. And Black Widow was, it's hinted at that she's killed him. She thinks she thought she killed him, but she ended up killing his daughter, not him himself. And so, Black Widow and her sister basically go on a quest to stop Dreykov, find him in the Red Room, which is an impossible room to go to, and basically free all the widows, basically, and to end all this torment that they're doing onto innocent ladies. And along the way, because Natasha's sister, she goes rogue, and they notice it, so they send the villain Taskmaster after him. Taskmaster being this famous villain from the comics, a skeleton with a skeleton face with a sword and shield that can basically copy any superhero's move just by watching them. That is such a sick power. I really love Taskmaster in the comics, and we'll get to him a bit later. But the rest of the movie is pretty much Natasha and her sister trying to get to the Red Room, kill Dreykov, and, hopefully save these widows from this horrible brainwashing into assassins. Along the way, we learn more about Natasha's past, and we find her other, people who raised her when she was a child. The Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, who you might recognize from Stranger Things, and Millennia, played by Rachel Weisz, who I first saw in The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, which I still hold very dear to my heart. But that's beside the point. That's a whole other story. So, let's get on to the pros. Pro number one is just this movie as a whole, Black Widow. I was one of the people that was really concerned about this one, not only because of the delays, because of, COVID and all that, but also because she's already dead in Endgame. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen that already for some reason. It's been like quite a while since that movie came out, but still. So I wasn't sure how a prequel movie was gonna turn out after that happened. Like, I don't know if people are still gonna be invested, and like same as I, and people are gonna really care about this, kind of story. If she's already, kind of dead, but again, Marvel has a tendency to surprise me. I mean, I didn't think Winter Soldier was going to be that good of a sequel, and man, it's like one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. I didn't think Thor was going to be a credible hero, and then they made a pretty good first movie. I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be anything spectacular, because I didn't know shit about them, but they managed to make them into a fun, superhero series, and it's the same thing with Black Widow. So this movie, yeah, like, it had a lot to live up to, and I think it lived up to it in bucket loads. Pro number 2 is just Black Widow herself. I really like that in this movie, like, it's pretty much everything that you want. It has good action, and you dive even deeper into Black Widow as a character. We see more of her traumatic past, and we learn why she is the way she is in the Avengers, and why, she has the hard exterior that she does, and she's so closed off from everybody, normally. And we see, her friends, the ones she cared dearly about, more in this, who are also really funny, who are also really good in the movie. And just, we see more about her past, and we see more about, her strengths, her weaknesses, and just sort of her, her personality shines through a lot more in this movie. And I think that's really good. That's what I wanted to see in this movie, more than anything else. I mean, sure, it could have a cool story, but I would hope that Black Widow, as a character, we see more of, like, her herself, and, like, more of what led her to this path that she's on right now, when led to her being an Avenger and all that. And you do get a lot of that in the movie, so that's a plus. Pro number 3 is the supporting cast. The supporting cast are all really strong. Again, David Harbour plays the Red Guardian, who is one of the people that raised Romanoff when she was a little girl. And he has a lot of good lines in the movie, and he's like, has this beef with Captain America, which is pretty funny. And he's really good. Rachel Weisz's character is really good as well. You don't see her a lot as much as Red Guardian, but she's also a great character, and especially Natasha's sister. Her and Natasha and her sister just have a great dynamic. They're both really good when they're on screen and they're interacting with each other, and you want to see them sort these things out. You want to see them work together, and you want to see them kind of figure things out. And that's another thing. Pro number 4, figuring things out. There's quite a lot of sitting around and talking about things. There is the big action sequences, and there is the cool, like, fight scenes, of course, but there's also quite a bit of just sitting around and talking about the past, and about the good old days and the bad old days, and just talking about what went wrong, and talking about what led up to this point, and talking about hypotheticals. And unlike, it's not boring. It's not boring conversations, because it's really just showing more of how Natasha is as a person, and the environment that shaped her and the others around her, and just what made them the way they are today. And it's really it's captivating, and it really just, you're really invested in all this drama. So it's really good. And another thing, yeah, the action is awesome. The action is awesome. I like that, especially with the action in this one, compared to some other Marvel movies, it's a lot more grounded. I mean, I know we've gotten quite a few grounded movies, like Captain America Winter Soldier was definitely more of a grounded one, despite it being S.H.I.E.L.D. But this one definitely feels like the most grounded out of all of them. There's not any huge superpowers, there's no... Sorcerer Supremes or big green Hulk monsters running around in this one. No, it's just it's more about, it's like a spy thriller, which is really cool to see in a Marvel movie. It's nice to see a nice new change of pace. And another big pro number 6 is just, man, this movie is so different from most Marvel movies. From the opening scene alone, I knew I was in for a new movie. It's kind of like when Infinity War starts and, Loki's just dead and Heimdall's dead. It's like not that quite dark and depressing, but it is definitely up there. I'm like, whoa, that is really, really good. And like when the opening credits start, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. Like, that got me hooked. Because it's quite a bit of tragedy in it, and there's just a lot of edgy elements in this movie, which I do appreciate. It's not like, bloody or gory, because again, it's like PG-13. It's not any like blood or guts or like, any risque scenes, but there's a lot of like, there's a blown, again, like, because Black Widow kills Dreykov's daughter, and like you see her blowing up, and you see like the pig getting like slaughtered, and you see just a lot of really kind of disturbing stuff, and like not anything like extreme again, but it is PG-13. I appreciate that. Like when it says PG-13, it means it. It means it's 13 and above. So just warning you, because I heard quite a few like little girls like in the back sometimes when I was watching this, because I watched this in the theater, and you know they were kind of sniffling and they were kind of crying at certain points, and I think that they just didn't expect it to be this, you know, a little a darker tone, which is cool. It's nice to like have a little nice refresher on the typical Marvel formula, because you know Marvel movies over time can be a bit formulaic, so I like that this one changes it up a bit in terms of the tone and the style, which is it's cool. But with that out of the way, with all the praises out of the way, there are just a few cons in this movie that I do think have to be addressed. So let's get to them. Con number one, and I don't know, this might be a nitpick for me, might not be, it's the villain. I'm not saying that he's awful, don't mind the computer turning on behind me. Not to say that he's awful by any means, but he's just, it's very one-dimensional. And I get it that he's just awful, and sometimes I like villains like that. Like I liked Dormammu, despite him from Doctor Strange, despite him barely being in the movie, and he's only in the last third, and he's really just there to be a joke. But I still thought he was cool. He had a nice design, and I like that he's just kind of just an evil overlord. That's cool. But I don't know, I feel like because all the other main characters in the movie were so well developed and I cared a lot about them, I just wish that the villain could have been, I don't know, not sympathetic by any means, because what he does is very sick, and I like that they, you know, really showcase him for the monster that he is, but just saying, like, he could have been better developed as a villain. Same with Taskmaster. There is a twist with Taskmaster towards the end, which, it's a pretty good twist. You might have seen it coming, I didn't see it coming. But I think if I, you know, rewatching it again, I think I'd probably be like, oh, yeah, it's pretty obvious to see. But who knows? I've only seen it once, so I might be wrong on that one. But there's a twist behind Taskmaster. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to watch the movie to find out what it is. But Taskmaster, I think they could have used a little more with the Taskmaster. Not to say that it's bad with him, but I don't know. Taskmaster, that's different for me because I really love Taskmaster in the comics, and to see him just kind of like be the secondary antagonist is kind of like, alright, that's cool. And he has the cool action sequences with Taskmaster, but like as a villain himself, not a lot there to me. So, and again, it's a different approach to Taskmaster. If you've watched the movie, it's a very different approach. But I don't know, it could have used a bit. They could have been better. The villains could have been better. Con number two is that I wish we just could have gotten more time with the Black Widow and her family, like, bonding, because you do get time to see them kind of bicker and, you know, all that, and not like a bickering in the sense of like, oh my god, well, when will these guys just shut up and stop arguing? Like, it feels very natural. That's what another thing I guess I love. I'm sorry, I'm on the cons and I'm talking about a pro. It's weird, but it's just that these conversations that they have feel normal and they feel organic. Well, as organic as a superhero movie can be, but like, it doesn't feel forced. Like, the emotions that they're feeling, they don't feel like they're forced or like they're just kind of just forcing each other to be angry or be sad. Like, you believe every emotion that they're feeling, and it just feels very natural. But anyway, getting off topic, I'm supposed to talk about cons here, cool dude. Come on, get it together. Anyway, so I just wish they could have been a little bit more of like a bond there. Not that there's not a bond. There is definitely a bond that forms, but I just wish that it could have, you know, been a little stronger. Because I liked seeing them together, especially towards the end of the film. So I just wish there could have been more there. Actually, that's all the cons of this movie. This movie was so surprising in how good it was and how, like, well made it was. I was so expecting this movie to be kind of meh or mediocre or just not that great, but not only did it give me a much more appreciation for Black Widow as a character, and makes me all the more sad that, you know, she's dead in Endgame, but, you know, she sacrificed herself to save half the universe. I'm happy with that. But, you know, not only that, but, like, it was a really good comic book movie. I was very, very entertained. It was very intriguing. And also, one other thing I have to mention. The end credits scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but a character from a Disney Plus show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, makes an appearance. I'm not going to say who it is, or what their interaction is, or what they do between the end and the end credits, but it is a cool scene, and I like that they're finally tying in the Disney Plus shows. It really makes you, like, it feels really cool when you actually watch the shows, and then you see, like, them in a Marvel movie, and you're like, whoa, TVA, I know them. I watched the show and I liked the show, and so it gave me a really good satisfaction out of it. So, wait till the credits are over. There's a scene at the end with a Falcon and the Winter Soldier character. I'm not gonna see who it is. I'm not gonna see what they do. You just gotta watch the movie to find out. So I like that a lot. And yeah, honestly, I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5 Black Widows out of 5. This is a near perfect Marvel movie. It's an absolute thrill ride, and it's great from start to finish. It's entertaining. Sure, the villains, I think, knock this down by like a couple notches, but like, if the villains were like a lot more well developed and a lot more interesting, I think this could have been a perfect Marvel movie. Other than that, like, the main character is amazing. I think she's the best she's ever been in any Marvel movie, Black Widow. The acting is really great. The casting is great. The fight scenes are amazing. The pacing is really good. The overall darker tone compared to other Marvel movies is great. The effects are really cool. The storytelling is great, and it's just a nice tying up loose ends for Black Widow's story after Civil War, going into Infinity War, which they do, towards the end of the film, they do tie up what happens that leads her to go into the Infinity War movie with Captain America and all that. So it's a great thrill ride, and highly recommend it, especially if you're a Marvel fan like myself and watching the MCU, which, if you're a fan of the MCU, why haven't you watched this movie already, I guess, But yeah, it's great movie all around, just absolutely great. I had a great time. And it's just, again, I had very low expectations, and I think it's really good that I did, because, man, they just blew it right off the ceiling. So yeah, it was great. Great fun thrill ride all the way. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. And let me know what you thought of Black Widow down in the comments below. I'd like to see your thoughts on it. And even if you don't care about Black Widow or Marvel and just want to leave me a comment anyway, in general, I'd like to see it, and I'll read it heavily, unless it's a terrible comment. And one more thing, because I'm not going to get a chance to edit it, I want to upload this as soon as possible. Just a quick plug for my the Popcorn and Nacho podcast, where I talk about movies that you should see before you RIP. We talk a lot about movies that I really like, and we highly recommend that you watch. So check it out on Spotify, most notably, because that's what most people have. If somehow you don't have Spotify, it's also available on Overcast, Pocket Casts, Google Podcast, Breaker, and Radio Public. And with that out of the way, until next time, guys, stay cool, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, y'all.